Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Padhye, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed Water is better.
Welcome into another episode of the Athlete Insights Podcast, presented by Boxed Water. Today I've got my guest, Hayden Hatten. He's the wide receiver at the University of Idaho. So Hayden, appreciate you joining me and chopping it up with me a little bit today.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So as you know, you said before you watched an episode or two of my previous previous episodes of my podcast there. So you kind of know I like to go start things from the beginning, right? Your early beginnings in football and kind of where it's got to you now. So let's start with that, right? What is your earliest memory, or what is your earliest kind of memory of football and how you got into it?
Yeah, my earliest memory of just football in general is playing catch in the front yard with my twin brother and my dad. Since I was 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
My dad's a sports oriented person, so is my mom. They both played collegiate sports. My dad played basketball in college. My mom played basketball in college.
Okay.
So growing up, I was always around either football, basketball, or baseball. And I played my first tackle football game when I was like 8 years old for the Firebirds. And I'll never forget, I was an offensive tackle. And how times change. But that was my earliest and first memory. I never played any flag football.
Okay.
Yep, started playing tackle at a very young age, which I think is beneficial for kids, just because you're not really big enough to hurt each other at that point. Like, you look at like 8-year-old kids or 9-year-old kids around and hitting each other, and there's not really enough. You're just not big and strong enough yet, so you learn technique and things important. Just developing in football, and keeping your head out of tackles, and the important things for longevity in the sport. So I'm very thankful for that. And then stuck with football ever since then. I immediately fell in love with the game. It's been my favorite sport since I was 8 years old, and nothing's changed. And so it's been an exciting time. I thought I was going to be a basketball player for a long time.
Okay.
Because just both my parents played basketball. I was a good basketball player in high school, but I grew up to be 6'2", and there's not many 6'2" power forwards out there in college. So my height and my body really decided my sport. And so when I got to my sophomore year of high school, I really started taking football seriously, knowing that was going to be my opportunity to go to the next level.
No, for sure. And you said you grew, your parents played sports. You said your dad played basketball, right? You talk right there about you wanting to play basketball, but football is kind of passion. Is there anything when you made that transition from basketball to football, I'm assuming, like you said, you were playing youth football early on. Is there any memorable moment that you had in your youth career? I want to jump kind of into your high school career, but any memorable moments, anything that stands out to you about your youth football career that kind of helped you make that transition?
Yeah. Well, so growing up, I played football, basketball, baseball. I played them all.
Okay.
And I played them all in high school as well. So I never just dove fully into football till really my senior year. And I still played basketball my senior year of high school. But when I was a kid, I had a coach. His name was Coach Matt Frazier. I don't know if he's still coaching, but him and I believe he's still coaching. He's coaching the Firebirds in Scottsdale, Arizona right now.
Yeah.
He was a very good mentor and leader for me, and really made me fall in love with the game. He coached me really hard. And then Matt Behrens as well, another coach who I had growing up, and then I had a lot of great coaches. Bill Faturos is another great coach of mine, but all of them had the same characteristic that has kind of groomed me into the person that I am today, where they coached very, very hard. And my dad and mom really wanted to put me in those situations where I was being coached by a coach who was known for being the guy to really snap at their players and coach hard. And I think that's a life skill that I'm very thankful I got at a young age, because without that, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. Being coachable is a skill in itself. And so
Yeah.
um, getting to experience that at a young age, I'm very fortunate for.
And you said you played like offensive tackle early on before now you're, I mean, you said it yourself, right? How times change and you're now into a wide receiver there. But is there any other position that you played outside of you played offensive tackle? Is there anything else you played maybe on the defensive side of the ball when you were younger as well?
Yeah, I when I was younger, I was primarily a defensive player.
Okay.
I played, and that's just as I got a little older. I was linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like our Sam, and then I played a little bit of D end, and then
Mhm.
offensively, I played tackle
Okay.
and tight end growing up.
Okay.
So
Ah,
yeah, so I played tackle, tight end, and I'd play both ways as a kid.
yeah.
Wouldn't come off the field, just loved playing.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. You said you were primarily a defensive guy, and again, how now you've transitioned into the offensive juggernaut that you are for Idaho. So, kind of jumping into your high school career, talk to me about. You said you played football, basketball, and baseball, right? Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
played football, basketball, and baseball throughout high school. Talk to me about your high school football experience, but then your overall experience as well throughout high school playing all those sports.
Yeah, I had an amazing high school experience. Made a lot of great friends, great memories.
Yeah.
Um, I started my high school career at Pinnacle High School,
Mm-hmm.
down in Phoenix, Arizona,
Yeah.
which got a little bit of publicity because of the QB1 show with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
So I got to play with him, and then I played basketball with like Nico Mannion and some great players. So it was exciting growing up, being on teams with guys like that who were great players and more importantly, great competitors. You know,
That's
they just
my ideal city too, Hayden. Phoenix.
yeah, Phoenix is fantastic, man. I
So,
play
no,
in
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
no worries. But yeah, that's so I played three football seasons at Pinnacle High School.
Mhm.
I was a I was I played wide receiver
Yeah.
every year. And then it got to the point where I was having some great success in high school, and it kind of my mindset switched on football and was like, you know what, this is something I'm really going to prioritize and take seriously. And so I kind
Yeah.
of put um, baseball on the back burner and basketball on the back burner and really devoted a lot of time to football and just training specifically for football. And
Mhm.
um, I ended up transferring my senior year to Saguaro High School, which is a powerhouse out in Arizona.
Yeah.
They won like 6 state championships in a row,
Mhm.
and it was the best decision I could have ever made.
Yeah.
I told my parents that if I stayed at Pinnacle and I never got the opportunity to play college football or couldn't get a scholarship to play college football, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. And if I went to Saguaro and I didn't get one, then I could I could sleep at night knowing that I put my best foot forward trying to go play in college.
Yeah.
And
For
luckily everything worked out. And I have a twin brother
uh-huh.
who plays football here at the University of Idaho with me as well. And
Okay.
now I have a cousin who plays basketball here at the
Oh,
university. So it's been an absolute blessing for us, and I wouldn't change anything.
for sure. And you mentioned how your twin brother, now your cousin's playing there. So that kind of leads me into I'm always curious when I interview athletes, when I talk to athletes about kind of their recruitment process. So can you kind of delve into that a little bit? Talk about your recruitment process, how you ended up at Idaho, and how you ended up
Yeah.
making that decision.
So I had a pretty funky recruitment process. I
Okay.
didn't have a scholarship um, till like the middle of my junior year because that's when I decided to leave. So right when I transferred into Saguaro, I I had a great junior season. I mean, in high school, I think I finished with like 21 receiving touchdowns and
Hmm.
like 1,300 yards or something around there.
Yeah.
And and I just couldn't get recruited. And so I right when I transferred, like my first week and a half in the door at Saguaro High School, I got my first scholarship offer to Nevada Reno,
Okay.
and then my recruitment kind of kind of took off from there. But it was difficult to decide what I wanted to do because I was getting recruited by a lot of different types of schools. So I got offered by a lot of Ivy League schools. My brother got offered by a lot of Ivy League schools as well.
Okay.
We had schools like USD, and I ended up picking up Louisville as my third offer.
Okay.
And so it was different. I was getting recruited by a lot of different conferences, a lot of different um, college experiences that I'd be experiencing if I went to any of these schools. And so
Mm.
my brother and I, we wanted to go to the same school the entire time, and we
Yeah.
both committed to Brown uh, before our senior season.
Okay.
So we were committed to the Ivy League. We were excited to go, and about halfway through their season, their coaching staff got released, which
Oh.
staff we were committed to.
Mm.
So we went up there after the football season, met the new staff, didn't really click with them. And so we decided to open up our recruitment again. And the University of Idaho reached out to both my brother and I, and we came up here on a visit, instantly fell in love, and committed right after. We were like, you know what, this is home. This is a
Yeah.
place that's going to take a risk on both of us, and we're ready to call it home.
For sure. For sure. And so now you transition to Idaho, but before we get to kind of your college stats and kind of your college career, I'm always also curious. I've asked other guests this as well. Is when you look at football, right? It's you think of the physicality of it, but there's also a mental side to this sport as well. So when you think about your college career, before we kind of delve into it, um, how much of football to you would be mental versus physical?
You know, I would say it's a 50-50 balance. Simply because you got to win.
Yeah.
I'm a very competitive person.
Mhm.
I that's that's something I pride myself on. I'm not embarrassed to be the guy who wants to win at everything, no matter what the game is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also it's very mental because there's so many moving parts in football and so many things that you can't control, especially as a wide receiver. You know, I could win on 10 routes in a game and I could get one catch because that's the
Yeah.
only time football comes to me. You
Mhm.
know, so I think it's important to have that balance of understanding, you know what, you play the cards that are presented to you, and
Yeah.
whatever you do, you take advantage of it. And that's how you kind of have to take on life as well.
For sure. For sure. And again, I love how you said that it's 50-50 because I think a lot of people, I mean, at least where when I'm coaching my guys football wise, there's a lot of physicality aspect to it, but I don't think they truly can grasp the mental side of things. So I love how you said I mean, it's kind of an even split with that. So moving into your college career so far, like just kind of give a brief overview, kind of talk about your college career at Idaho and how your experience has been at the collegiate level.
I've had an amazing experience.
Mhm.
I've been fortunate with the things I've been able to do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fortunate. Very blessed. And I'm thankful for all the coaches and the people that I've had here
Mhm.
to help me and support me through these times. There's definitely been difficult times,
Yeah.
but there's been a lot of positives, and I've built some relationships and had some experiences and memories that I'll never be able to repay. Just how amazing it's truly been.
Yeah.
So I started off my freshman year. I played as a true freshman here.
Mhm.
I was primarily the the second tight end, like the split out tight end. And
Mhm.
uh, and at the end of the year, um, we had a, couple receivers go down, and
Mhm.
Coach Petrino was like, "Hey, let's put Hatton out at the X." And
Mhm.
so I started playing true wide receiver, and my first start, I scored 2 touchdowns and kind of never gave the position back and stayed at wide receiver.
Yeah. And,
Um,
yeah. Sorry. You
no,
good?
no worries.
Yeah.
Um, and so following into the next season, it was COVID, and so COVID-19 struck, and we ended up playing in the spring. But I had a great spring season, got named first team all conference,
Mhm.
over 100 yards a game.
Yeah.
And then we only got to play in 6 games that season. And so the following year, I played I played in the first 3 games.
Mhm.
The second game of the season was against Indiana, and
Yeah.
I 100 yards and 2 touchdowns with 10 catches against a Big Ten team, which is
Yeah.
exciting. And then I ended up having shoulder surgery, which put an end to my true junior season.
Mhm.
So so I missed the remaining games, but I got my red shirt back because I didn't redshirt as a freshman.
Mhm.
Uh, so the coaching staff got wiped at the end of that year.
Yeah.
A new coaching staff, and having coaches like Coach Yak and Coach Slice and Coach Linehan
Mhm.
has been just an absolute blessing. We hit the ground running when they came in, and they put in a lot of new concepts and new ideas and really built the faith and belief of Vandal football back into the community. And we had a great season last year, and we made the playoffs for the first time ever, and
Yeah.
we're looking forward to doing it again this year.
Going back to back. Yeah, no, I'm excited to continue to watch you guys. And it's ironic. I know going back to what you mentioned your recruiting process, and that's been on my mind a little bit when you said Nevada Reno was one of the first scholarship offers you got. And I was like, I'm thinking like how ironic that this season you guys beat UNR.
Yeah, I went
At
there
their
and beat
place,
down on them.
at their place. So that's the irony of that. But and then talking about kind of a couple questions about your position. What's to me, when you're a wide receiver and especially coaching receivers and tight ends, hands are the most important aspect of the attribute. Catching with we always preach catching with their hands, not with their bodies. Things like that. What's the most important? What's the key attribute that you think that a wide receiver has or should have coming in?
Catching the ball. I mean, you
Yeah.
said it right there. Like, I pride myself on my hands. I think that's what separates me in this conference. That's what separates me as a player, is being able to go up and high point the ball and attack the ball.
Yeah.
I think I think creating separation is very important as well, and people do it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's something that every receiver, as long as you can create separation at the top of your routes
Yeah.
and go and attack the ball, you'll
Uh-huh.
be fine.
And what's been the biggest difference? I know you talked about your college experience. You're a redshirt junior now. What's been the biggest difference in the high school game? Going back to your high school, what's been the biggest difference between high school and college, and the two games there?
It's everybody says the speed, like
That's yeah,
the speed. I feel like it didn't feel abnormally fast when I was playing as a true
yeah.
freshman.
Okay, yeah,
And now that I'm older, obviously it doesn't feel scary.
yeah,
I'm very adjusted to it, and but I think the biggest difference, honestly, is the playbook,
yeah.
and that's where you see people really excel or really fold. There's
Mm,
no in between. You see the people who come in and take priority
yeah,
in mastering the playbook and
yeah,
learning it, and just it's like having a job and then showing up not prepared.
yeah,
Like you're never going to get a chance to play, and you're never going to get a chance to be on the field. So if you don't take that seriously and you don't take the little things seriously in college, you won't reap the benefits of being able to play. You can't
yeah,
play somebody who doesn't know where they're supposed to go.
yeah. And I think film plays another role into that. Like at the college level, film is more like watching film is prioritized versus at the high school level. From
Sure.
my experience, as well, and probably your experience as well. I
I
was
was I was very fortunate to go to a school, Saguaro, with Coach Jason Mons.
yeah,
Um, had I was very fortunate to go to a school like that my senior year, because it honestly felt like I was at a prep school, because
okay.
we would watch film for an hour and a half every day.
Mhm.
Like it was very important, and it was instilled into us that this is how you do things. And so when I got to college, it wasn't as foreign for me.
Yeah,
If I would have came straight from Pinnacle, it would have been very foreign for sure.
for sure, for sure. So, I mean, you're having I mean, you've had a great college career so far. You're having a great season this season. Again, like I'm rooting you on, even though we're Big Sky foes, as they call it, right?
Yeah.
In Idaho, I'll be watching, cheering you guys on. You guys play Eastern Washington on Saturday on the road, so that'll be a fun game. I love that field at Eastern Washington, the red
Yeah,
Inferno.
it's cool. The Inferno.
It's a nice field there. But before we kind of close out, I don't know. You said you've watched, like you said, you've watched a couple episodes. I do a little bit of some fun questions, some fun rapid fire. So I'll throw some at you here.
Yeah, yeah, let's
You're good to
go.
go.
Yep.
Okay. What's your favorite pregame meal, Hayden?
Oh, I like just something basic, either like a tuna sandwich or like a ham sandwich, just something that sits in the stomach easily, get some bread in there.
Okay.
I'm a big Pedialyte guy. That'd probably, if you had to say
Oh,
what's your favorite pregame meal, I'd say drinking 2 Pedialytes.
Pedialytes. Oh, I love Pedialyte.
Make sure I'm ready to go 80 plays.
Yeah. And then what? Any song or any music that you listen to pregame?
Everybody's different.
Mhm.
I really enjoy just taking the headphones out and being in the moment.
I got you.
I just don't even I don't need any music or anything. There's music going on in the stadium, and I got all my I name another time I'll be surrounded by 85 of my best friends just
Yeah.
sitting there, having a great time and
Yeah.
getting ready for a pregame. You know, it's a different experience, and it's something that as I've gotten older, I've learned to really appreciate, and I won't ever get opportunities like this again.
For sure.
So I
For
just
sure.
like to be in the moment, no headphones, no, just live.
That's great. That's great. I mean, I fall into that trap of not staying in the present and thinking about the future, or having distractions and things like that. So that's great. Great that you do that and you're able to maintain that. And then any hobby that you have outside of football? I know during season it's hard to keep up with hobbies, but any hobbies that you do outside of football?
Yeah, I definitely got a couple. I'm a big golfer. I golf all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I've definitely found great passion in. And then in the winters up here because it gets cold,
Yeah.
I'm a snowboarder.
Yeah.
Picked
Oh,
it up
okay.
since I got
Yeah.
up here. And then I like fishing as well. I think my girlfriend and I are going to take a fishing trip here soon. And
Okay. Well, if you're ever in Greeley, I'm a big golfer. So if you're ever in
let's
Greeley,
play
we'll have to play, man. So
100%. I'll
um
never turn down a round of golf.
yeah. And then what's your favorite route to run as a receiver?
Ooh, Um, that's a tough question because I like to run a lot of my routes like they look the same. Like
Okay.
if
I
I
got
run
you.
a post, I want it to look like my post curl. I want it to look like my post corner. I want it to look
Yeah.
like my post dig.
Yeah.
So I'd say like there's a I'd say post corner or corner post something
Okay.
field, and I feel like I'm really strong on my double moves,
Okay.
like up or something, stutter go, something like that. Those are probably my favorite routes, just because I feel like if I ever get in those situations and my numbers called on them, I'll win.
For sure. What's the best piece of advice that you've gotten throughout your career so far? It could be life or football.
I'd say the best piece of advice I've gotten through football that will change the rest of my life is being coachable and remaining coachable.
Mhm.
You know, I had my position coach come up to me and say that he coaches me harder and everything just because of how coachable I am, and I find that as a really big compliment.
Yeah.
Just just because being able to put your head down and just say yes sir, like I will learn from this and I'll make sure I fix it,
Yeah.
goes so much farther than sitting there and complaining and arguing and bickering with them, because that's just if you ever gonna have a job down the line or something set up for you,
Hmm.
or you're probably not going to be your own boss at 22 years old
Yeah.
immediately when you graduate. You're going
Yeah.
to have somebody who's at a higher position than you, and just being able to go, yes sir, I will learn from this, and I will, I'll fix this.
Yeah.
uh, goes much farther than bickering.
For sure, for sure. So now you talk about the best advice you've got is being coachable and understanding and respecting those in position that are higher than you, and kind of want to put it on you now is I want you to imagine that you're talking to high school kids, youth football players, youth athletes. What's one piece of advice that you would give them for those athletes at the youth level, at the high school level that are looking to get to the Division I level to where you are today? What's one piece of advice that you'd give them?
I just, I've gotten I asked this question a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say to them is that you can't fake this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you really want to play college football, there's a spot for you somewhere. D1, D2, D3. If you love the game and you want to play, go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I highly encourage you to do it because
Yeah.
make memories that you can't replicate doing anything else in the entire world, and you'll make friends you'll never forget. You'll have this tight bond, this unity, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really exciting. But if you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you don't know if this is something you want to do,
Yeah.
don't don't put yourself in a position where you're going to hate football for the rest of your life because you didn't complete it in college.
Yeah.
I have so many friends who came here who decide to leave and then regret it for the rest of their time in college just because
Yeah.
they're no longer doing it, and it's a different sort of unity. So I would tell any kid who wants to get to this level, as cliche as it sounds, keep working hard, do everything right, do well in the classroom, and you will find a home and go somewhere where you're wanted.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
the other key. Yeah.
go somewhere where you're wanted. Trust me, I had a couple of PWO opportunities at really big schools.
Mm.
I think I had a walk on to Michigan and UCLA.
Okay.
Decided to take a school like Idaho who really wanted me and wanted me here and was offering me money. And so I came here, and you can tell that you're wanted
Mm.
compared to going somewhere where you're treated as you're disposable. So go
Yeah.
somewhere where you're wanted no matter what division you're going to, and you will have a better time and a better experience for sure.
No, I agree. Like, and I've had other athletes kind of corroborate that too, right? Being where you're wanted, making sure you're happy and you're not like, because again, like when you go to practice every day, when you play with the guys that you play every day, you want to be happy, you want to be excited to go to battle with those guys. And so I'm excited to see that you found that at Idaho and that you're enjoying your time there. And it's great to see that. So that was great advice too on all that. So, but that's all the time that we have for this episode of the Athlete Insights podcast. Hayden, appreciate you, man, for coming on. And when you're in, I know you guys play UNC in Greeley later on in the season, so I'll be at the game. So
I'll definitely come up to you and say hi.
hopefully we'll link up, man, out there. So
Great.
but yeah, no. So yeah, but thank you for coming on, man, and supporting, and I really appreciate that. So
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for having me, Yash. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah. And you can follow Hayden. You can follow me, my podcast. I'll have Hayden's social media links on the screen when I post it on YouTube. So make sure you follow Hayden as well to keep up with his season. Follow our podcast. But thank you again, Hayden. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Of course. Let's go. Go Vandals.